Welcome to DMM Downloads. We are podcasting another conversation about DMM between Jeff Crabtree and me, Rudy Rivera. Jeff and I are teamed together in Northern Colorado in a ministry we call DMM NOCO. DMM NOCO is unleashing disciple-making movements in Northern Colorado, and we thought it a good idea to start a podcast as a way to bring awareness and resourcing to ordinary people who are passionate about making multiplying disciple makers in our natural networks. Thanks for joining us in this journey. We hope you get a DMM download from this conversation. Well, hey, Jeff.
Rudy.
We're back.
We are back.
And although we've had some recordings go out, you and I have really not been together for a couple of weeks.
Yep.
Personal things which if you want to, you can share about. But today, I'm excited. I'm glad to be back because, as usual, we've been talking, and you shared a story with me this week about a little street here in Timnath, Colorado. If you're in Timnath, you'd know the street. If you're not in Timnath, look us up on the map. But there is a roundabout, circle around, wherever you're listening in the world. It's one of those roads that you got to go around, and we have many of them here in town, but this one in particular has on one corner, so let's call it, it's the east, I think it's the northeast corner of that intersection is a new church building, and the southwest corner of that intersection has a large apartment complex. And you shared something with me about that little roundabout, that little street. I thought was really intriguing. And I said, Jeff, remind me of that. Let's record it and let's talk about that as a DMM download. So, Jeff, take it away, bro.
Well, the backdrop is 15 months ago. I kind of, pivoted, semi-retired. I don't know how you even describe it. I left leading a local church and went on staff with another church as their disciple-making pastor. Mm-hmm. And they were selling their facility and purchasing a new facility in this town called Timnath, which is a little suburb of Fort Collins, Colorado, on the east side. So we came to inhabit that new building, I want to say now 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
And so when I leave the main street to get to the building, you talked about the roundabout. We had to go around this roundabout to get to our church facility. Mm-hmm. And fairly early on, out of the corner of my eye, in going around the roundabout, I recognized there was an apartment complex there. Mm-hmm. And didn't think too much about it. And for weeks and maybe a month or two, I would because I was focused on going to the church, going to the church building. And everybody on Sunday mornings or whenever they're doing the same thing, going around this roundabout to go to the building. And again, I kept feeling this little bit of draw in my mind to pivot my thought and focus on that reality, that space, those apartments. And because I'm a DMMer now and we've talked about that, been influenced so much to pray for the last 5.5 years, Lord, give me your heart for the lost. So I began to realize, gosh, this is a big apartment complex right across the street from the church. Mm-hmm. And finally one day I just got frustrated at myself. It's like, why am I not paying attention to that? And so anyway, I went prayer walking over there. I realized, I looked it up, there's 258 apartments over there. And I began to think, how many men, women, boys, and girls are lost or captivated or broken? If we say that around this area, we say maybe 10% of people have faith or engaged in some sense of faith. Mm-hmm. That's 90% of the people right across the street. But I'm so focused on going to the building, doing good things. Mm-hmm. And so I guess what I'm trying to say by that, and we can unpack that a little bit, is it's not okay for me anymore to drive around the roundabout, focusing on the church, and right across the street, I don't even focus, think about, or care about that lostness. It's not okay for me. And so now every time I drive around the roundabout, I'm praying for the lostness and the brokenness right across the street. I've gone prayer walking, and we can unpack where that's developed then. But that's the initial thing. And I thought that's so true of my life and maybe many Christians. And at least for me now with a DMM mentality, we're so focused on our own stuff that right across the street could be 258 apartments with brokenness and darkness and loneliness and isolation that I don't even register it. It's not even in my thought pattern. So that's how God's working with me. And I know for me, if I wasn't in disciple-making movements, capturing, praying for God's heart for the lost, I probably could just do that. And what a tragedy that would be for me, or what a tragedy it is for the body of Christ that we're so focused on what we're doing that we don't even recognize the brokenness that's right across the street.
Yeah. Wow, that's really good, Jeff. And I think when you shared it with me, that image, that story, I pictured myself on that roundabout. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not a member of that church that you're talking about, and I don't live in that apartment complex, but I do live in our neighborhood, which is the same neighborhood. And so when I go around that roundabout, I've noticed since then, I noticed what I'm doing. My eye is actually focused slightly left, because here in the States, as we know, we're taking that roundabout to the right, looping around to the left, and then you go around past 1, 2, the third exit, you exit the roundabout and go to the church building
Right.
you're talking about. So my eyes are literally taking me that way.
Right.
And then what hit me, Jeff, and so I wanted to hear if you have any thoughts on this. What hit me was, like, one, my eyes are focused on the roundabout. Don't hit the roundabout and get to my exit.
Right?
And it made me wonder, Lord, in my life, in my spiritual walk, do you want me taking a different exit, for example?
Okay.
Maybe the exit in this case ought to be exit 1 or 2 for the sake of the lost. But I'm actually so focused on, nope, I got to get to my plan.
Destination.
Yeah. And I'm going to go exit 3. Anyhow, those two images, because I drove that roundabout after you told me the story, and I was like, whoa, like in the natural, in the physical, this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to follow that road to my destination. And I wonder if the Lord sometimes is going, right roundabout, wrong exit.
Yeah, that's
Just a
obviously
thought,
that
but-
could be unpacked a lot.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I've shared this with a few other people, and they have come back to say to me, I can't drive that roundabout now without thinking about the apartment complex.
Yeah, that's good.
It's kind of the seed of vision. And again, we've talked about the specifics of that, but again, it broadens from that is how many born-again believers, followers of Jesus, disciples, that we pass brokenness and lostness all the time, and it just doesn't capture us. It's not even on our radar. And I think maybe there needs to be a change, or at least consider that there needs to be a change.
Yeah, yeah. So what else would you want to say about, because that story, I know it's been impacting you. It's actually changed some of your habits, like you're saying. You've done some prayer walking. Maybe the church has started to pivot some of their thinking towards that. Anyhow, do you want to unpack a little bit
Yeah,
more?
so what the development of that story is that's captured me. And I've thought of the passage Jesus said, love your neighbor. And are we? And I'm speaking about the local church that I'm a part of. So I wrote up a proposal to the executive leadership staff, a proposal to adopt that apartment complex, call it Operation Love Our Neighbors. And I won't go into all the specifics of what we would do, but it's that we as a congregation would be committed to looking across the street and doing something about that, at least creating a bridge of friendship, finding out ways to love our neighbors. So we're in discussion about what kind of process and plan can we enact that we really love our neighbors. It's not just an activity. We're going to try to launch something. But the point being is, what if 250 people who come regular on Sunday morning begin to drive the roundabout, and every time they come, they pray for the apartment complex? So we're now contemplating rolling out a process to love our neighbors. But it all just came, again, for me, it's because I've been praying earnestly for 5.5 years that God would give me his heart for the lost. So I think that's kind of what we're doing now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does make sense to me. And would you say, you mentioned something previously that there's maybe like a spiritual warfare component to that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've been in the work a long time. You have too, and I don't know, even in walking with Jesus for 48 years, do I even really understand spiritual warfare? I'm impacted by it. I don't know if I understand it.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I do recognize that to care about the lost or to help lead a congregation into a mentality and a heart for the lost, there's pushback. And there's always a cost. And I think that's sometimes why even myself, or I think even any follower of Jesus, sometimes we play it safe. Because if we get too radical, if we step beyond our nice little environments of where it's safe to be a Christian, we understand there's a cost. So even in trying to move forward with this operation, love our neighbor across the street, we've got to let people know that we need to be equipped to be praying against the forces of evil, and that God would guard and protect us, because it is a war. We are in a spiritual war. And when we adopt 258 apartments and all that's included and involved in that, the enemy doesn't like that. Just stay over there in your building. Just stay over there and do your own nice Christian stuff. Don't be stepping out over into my territory, if you will. So anyway, we just talked a little bit about that. We also have to, equip our people that this is, there's a cost to it. There's some spiritual warfare, and let's be humble and sober, but a lot of prayer. Engage extraordinary prayer.
And then let's say if somebody's listening and I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, but they don't have a roundabout, like
Right.
literal roundabout near their church building, but they do have neighbors across the street, or
Right.
they've got neighborhoods, or they got, I guess, can you speak to the sort of the metaphorical roundabout for people's lives? Do you see a connection towards DMM to the broader scale for anyone listening that, hey, Jeff, I don't have a roundabout, but I do have a neighbor. I do have a complex. Like, what would you say to those people that are listening?
Yeah, I think and I can use just my story. There has to be a mindset shift and a heart change. That's what disciple-making movements, when I got involved, is because it's so much focused on not just knowing about the Great Commission or quoting the Great Commission, but living out the Great Commission, not because we have to, but because we have God's heart for the lost. And so I would just say, if somebody hears this, they're intrigued by that, is, are you praying for God's, to give you his heart? And if so, are you being nudged? Are you how's the word I'm thinking about myself? Are you even frustrated at yourself that you're going about your own life and going to your own destination, that the brokenness all around you, where we say where you live, learn, work, and play, doesn't bother you? That if you're getting God's heart, it's going to bother you that you're across the street from somebody that doesn't know him, and there's a brokenness there, and maybe God has your name on it. I believe now that our church has this apartment complex, God has our name on it, because they're right. He put us right across the street. So what are we going to do about it now?
Yeah.
So it's more the mindset paradigm shift, that you can't just go to church activity and go to your destination when you drive by brokenness all the time. Maybe you need the Spirit of God to knock and say, hey, don't just drive the roundabout. Turn, pay attention, pray, and maybe you're supposed to do something about that.
I think that's a good place to end, Jeff. Thanks for
Thanks,
sharing
Rudy.
today this download. Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks, Jeff, for that engaging download. In DMM, we like to say that disciples are learners. I know I'm learning a lot from my conversations with you, Jeff. From all of us in DMM NOCO, we hope you got a DMM download from the conversation today. Don't forget to leave this podcast a review wherever you are listening online. If you found this conversation helpful, please head over to our site, dmmnoco.com, where you can find more content for your DMM journey, including a self-paced Habits of a Multiplying Disciple course. The course is designed to give you practical next steps to becoming a DMM practitioner and multiplying disciple maker. You can take that course for free at dmmnoco.com. We will be back next week with another engaging DMM download episode. Until then, may you hear from God through His Spirit and take simple steps of obedience in what you hear.